Hey everyone, I'm Kate Kennedy and I'm here with day 90 of 100 Days of Kane, PA. And it's Wednesday night, so you know what that means. It means it's History Night, where we hear a story about Kane's history from one of the members of the Kane Historic Preservation Society. And tonight we took a little field trip. We usually tell the stories from either the depot or the Memorial Chapel, but we're here at the Kane Manor Inn on the east side of Kane. And Matt Boyer is going to share the history stories of the Kane Manor. So I'm going to go ahead. Flip you around, and we'll walk into the parlor and say hello. Hi, Matt.
Hey, Kate.
How are you?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Good. Well, it's really nice to see you tonight. Thank
great.
you so much for taking time.
Of course.
Would you go ahead and just start at the beginning?
Yeah.
When was the Kane Manor built?
Well, the manor was built in 1896-97 era, right after the homestead, the old Kane family homestead here, burnt to the ground, which is today the present site of the Kane High School.
Right. So this is where the first Kane family homestead was built by General Kane.
Right, so this was where the high school sits today, and the manor was actually built after by General Kane's wife, Dr. Elizabeth Kane.
So just help clear up a common misperception. Did General Kane ever live here?
No, he had died in 1883, and the homestead didn't burn down until about 15 years after he died. So what happened was Elizabeth was the one that planned everything from its design to where it'd be put. She was the head of it all.
All right. So she had this place built. So she moved from where the high school is currently located to this area here by the Clay Street School on Clay Street.
Yeah.
Currently.
Yeah, and what's actually interesting is right here tonight, I actually have the original blueprints to the home that were drawn up, including every single level to the building and then all four sides of the building's design.
Wow, so these are the originals.
Yes, they are.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So she had everything planned, and it was actually through a designing company here in Kane that she went through to have this entire home built for her and for her family. Now, when Elizabeth built it, she decided to have it on the edge of town where she'd be able to see all of Kane from, and she originally named this manor Anatoke or Anoatoke, however you want to say it. It's an Eskimo word meaning wind love spot, and I think that it's the best word that goes along with where this place is and what it is. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, so she had it built. It's a pretty big building.
it is. Yeah, she planned for this to be the home of the entire Kane family at the time. Her children, and on.
Okay. So who all did live here?
Well, there was about 4 generations of the family that lived here at one time or another. Starting off with Elizabeth. After she had passed away actually here in the home, her children took it over. Dr. Tom Kane took over for a very small time, and then his brother Evan, the famous surgeon with self-surgery, took over. He lived here with his second wife, Lilia, and after that, his son, Sashi, whose actual name was Elijah, took over around the 1930s, 1940s, and that is actually when it was turned into a wayside inn, was by Sashi. So before that, it was all just a family, personal residence to the Kane family.
Okay, so it wasn't until the 30s that it became an inn where people could come and stay for lodging.
Yeah, around that time is when Sashi turned it over and opened it up to the public to come and stay. He continued to live here while operating the inn, and then his son, Tom Kane, who's actually still alive today, took over the manor and continued as an inn. And it was actually under Sashi that many of the older people watching this might remember going down to the bar, down actually just below where we are today. That was actually also built by him, and I always have to laugh when I think about the building of the bar because Elizabeth Kane did not want any alcohol in her home. So we always like to joke saying that she was rolling in her grave when that bar was opened.
Oh yeah, it kind of went against what she would have wanted.
It would have been. She would have probably killed her grandson.
Oh. All right, so what other stories do you have for us about this home?
Well, besides for that, the Kane Manor continued to be the home of the family, and also it was an inn later on. It was sold out of the Kane family in 1983 when Tom Kane gave it over to Rick Mahoney and Gary Trinelli, 2 men from Ohio. They kept it as an inn until 2003. And that is when they decided to leave town and they put the manor and everything inside it up for auction, which is pretty sad to think because most of the items were original Kane family items. From your paintings to your different lamps in the home, including one that sat out in the foyer that had two old flintlocks pointing onto it. Old tables from the bar that many people would remember were made out of trees, had different markings on them made by Sashi, different timelines. In fact, here we have different items that talk about all the different things that were sold. From here, carbon jeweled sits atop of presentation, a sword that is expected to be one of the top items of the auction. From all different kinds of china, tables, everything.
Portraits there by the
Yep, different portraits of the family, many other items. And most of this today is in private collections, Smithsonian, different kinds of things. The Historical Society has only been able to get back very little of what was all here, but we're still trying to find everything, and hopefully it's still around today.
Yeah.
Though even still over in the cupboard over there, Dave Craig, the owner of the manor today, still has a lot of different plates, bowls, cups, butter dishes, all kinds of stuff that have the original Kane family seal from back when Sashi and Tom owned the manor as an inn.
Right there?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's take a look if we can.
Here, I'll pull something out here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so on here, you're able to see the old Kane family seal, and then still says Kane Manor.
Oh, neat.
And what it is, hand holding a sword and then 3 fish on the actual shield.
Cool.
So most of that has stayed here with the home.
All right.
Yeah, so after, like I said, in 2003, when the manor went up for sale, most of the items left, though Dave Craig bought the manor for $100,000 and has been nice enough to keep it up for up to date and up to as historically accurate as he could, and continue as the inn that we know of today.
Yeah, you have some pictures of the original
Yeah.
parlor and the original foyer,
Yep,
right?
so right over here, back when this was still a family residence, we're able to see the original foyer, as you're able to see all the different chairs, the old tables and everything that were in here.
Yeah, you can see it is really similar.
Yeah, there's an old piano there now, but most of it has still stayed the same, as much as Dave could keep it. The parlor, or as it was originally known by the family, the library, is a picture right here of back during the Kane family. And this was back when Elizabeth still lived here, as we're able to see Elizabeth here reading a book, and then her son, Dr. Tom, is playing his violin just over here in this corner. Right,
corner right here.
right around here is where he would have been standing playing the violin.
That's neat.
While Elizabeth would have been on the other side, over here by the middle window, reading the book, and we're even able to see the doors were open out onto the porch. Today they've been switched over to just regular windows.
Interesting.
Yeah. Now what's really interesting is right here's original photo of just after the manor was built, and you're actually able to tell that because the porch was open at the time.
Oh, I see, yeah.
Yeah, and Elizabeth is on there with a few other people that are there at the manor. What's also interesting is the old flagpole with the American flag flying above the manor.
Yeah.
Today that is gone,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, very interesting, Matt.
Yeah.
What else? Is there anything else that you have to share with us
Well,
about the Kane Manor?
There are a few for a lot of people, including myself, who's big paranormal fans. They may have seen in the paper we've had paranormal activity investigations conducted here at the manor. Studies showed that the family's still around, so any people that are interested with that stuff, the manor is considered one of the most haunted places in northwestern Pennsylvania.
And it's also a very comfortable place to stay.
Yeah, so
It's the best of both.
Yeah, you get everything out of it. You know, you get friendly ghosts and you get a friendly environment to be with them. So
That is interesting. I know it's a big interest for a lot of people.
yeah. So besides just for the manor, a few other different stories that's interesting. Besides Elizabeth dying here in the manor, Sashi with the bar.
She just died of natural causes.
Old age around that, yeah. She died in 1909 here in the manor in the fountain room. So anybody who comes to stay at the manor, I always recommend that room.
Yeah.
Just to have a little bit of fun. Plus,
Tell them what she was doing.
she was reading the Bible
See?
at night. So
She went peacefully, I'm sure.
yeah, and holy.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
Besides for that, the one big common mistake about the manor, besides that the general lived here or built it, is the Kane cabins that many people have ventured out to behind the manor. That was not built by General Kane or anything. That was an old hunting cabin that either Evan O'Neill Kane or Sashi Kane built just to go out there, hopefully shoot a few deer or something. Though what's interesting about is Evan Kane decided to be buried back there with his 2 wives, Blanche and Lilia. They are both buried back there. There's a huge boulder there that has different plaques going around there. There's one stone that I believe is for Blanche about her death, and then there's a memorial stone for Evan's sister, Harriet. Harriet was the daughter who died in the chapel.
Okay.
So it's interesting to think that those 3 decide to be buried out there and not with the rest of the family out at the mausoleum. So that's always been a question of mine.
Yeah, why did they choose that? So
Yeah.
General Kane is buried at the Memorial Chapel.
Yep.
Evan, Harriet, and Evan's 2 wives are...
No, Harriet's buried out at the mausoleum.
Oh, but there's
it's
a
just
plaque.
yeah, it's
There's
just a
plaque
memorial
there.
stone that says in memory of. She's
Oh,
not.
okay.
Yeah.
So Evan and his 2 wives are
Yep.
behind the chapel at the Kane's cabins.
They're
And then-
behind the manor.
Sorry. The
Yeah.
manor. And then everyone else is at the mausoleum.
Yeah. So Tom Kane at the chapel, Evan, his 2 wives here behind the manor, and then the rest of the family out at the mausoleum.
Yes. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I've been back there. It's a very pretty area.
Very pretty, can be creepy at times, but also very interesting place. And it's nice because with all the different ski trails and everything that's provided here at the manor, it gives more people a better chance to learn a little bit more about the history and get to find out a little bit more about the family and the manor and everything.
Yeah, that's interesting. I do think that it's really important. It was something that I learned when I first came back and started talking to you guys that General Kane never had been here.
Yeah, he never did, and
This was Elizabeth's.
yeah, this was Elizabeth's place. This was where she ruled.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
All right, Matt. Well, this is so fascinating.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you have to share?
Well, I know we had talked about. I will take you guys around just to show you a little
Sure.
bit. So, like we said, we are in what was the library, as it was called. It was pretty much just a sitting parlor. The original door was right over here, so the door that you came through and that we'll go through was just another sliding side door, but this was the main one to come into the room. And then you'd come back through here. The fireplace here, unfortunately, it has changed. There used to be 2 guns that sat here with a little plaque. That's been taken out, and this was then put in. Life is like iron. Use it, it wears away. Use it not, it rusts away.
Do you know when that was added?
I would probably guess around 2003 or so.
Oh, so that's a more recent thing.
Yeah, that's more recent. So we're now going into the foyer, the main foyer that everybody likes to come into.
And this is the one that we saw the picture of. So if I stand here,
Yeah, you would then be looking.
At
You'd see
how
a
the
few different
picture-
chairs around the area. You'd see the door, everything. That has changed. The chandelier here, that has changed. There originally was a chandelier here as well. So it's been as pretty accurate as it could possibly be. Yeah, I'll flip you around, turn the light on here. Today, mostly known as the main dining room where everybody likes to come and stay. This was actually originally an outside porch. So the doors that you're at right now, Kate, were doors that would come out, and this was all open, but later on it was brought in and turned into part of the inner part of the manor. So you had a main doorway here, and that was from the dining room out onto the porch, and then the double doors from the foyer out onto the porch.
right? And this is where a lot of events are held today.
Yeah.
Baby showers, bridal showers. So there gets a lot of use having it enclosed like this.
Yeah, that's one good thing about it, is especially during the winters when you find most of that happening. Otherwise, it's outside.
Yeah.
So it's nice about that, and they still have part of the porch out there where you might see a bunch of girls get prom pictures or something at. That's still open, and it's open during the summer for people to go out and sit on. Though just this rounded part was only what was enclosed in.
Excellent.
Yeah, over here, this was the original. Trying to find the light switch here. This.
We'll have to adapt to the dark room.
Yeah. This was the original dining room. So the tables here have changed, but there would have been around this many tables as it was with the picture for the
Yes.
end. Though this is where they would always eat, and then the kitchen going back through the door right over there.
Sure. Awesome, Matt. Well, this is really helpful to kind of get a feel for how it was originally and how it is today.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you have to share about the Kane Manor?
There's so many different stories, though all of them sort of just combined together. What's really great is over the years, the house has pretty much stayed the same. It's still a beacon of the town. It's one of the most historic places. In fact, the Kane Manor is on the National Registry for Historic Places, along with the chapel, the old armory, and the Thompson building. So it's nice that people are able to actually come in. They get to see what this building was like and how it's changed over the years, though staying the same as best it could be.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's a great treasure.
It's a great place, and I always think, even though most of the Kane family members today who are living have never been here to Kane, that this would still be their home, as it's always the Kane family home in a way.
Yeah, that's a great way to say it.
Yeah, today still operating, still going well as an inn, which is great to know. And I give credit all to Dave Craig and his staff for everything they do here, keeping it such a great place and such a great environment for everyone who comes here, and just being able to keep the history alive here at the building.
Yeah, excellent. All right, Matt, anything else?
That's as much as I can give you.
All right, well, thank you so much for taking us through the history of the Kane Manor.
Of course, yeah.
And thank you guys for tuning in. I always love history nights. They're so much fun to learn about the history that has happened right here in Kane. Did you guys learn anything new in that? I learned so much from Matt telling those stories. And I would love to hear your stories about the Kane Manor. I know most of you who have lived here at one time or another have been here for something. So if you have any memories or stories you would like to share, please write them in the comments below. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you again tomorrow for day 91.